How's it going, everyone? VenomousStare back with a little bit of something special today. An off-race game between two great players. We have Scarlett down here playing her main race as Zerg in the red, but we have Puck, the root player, who I'm sure was trying to test out the separate MMR, a new feature that Blizzard put in one of the most recent patches, basically meaning that your matchmaking rating is separate for each race. So if you play Protoss at a gold level, whenever you queue as Protoss, you're supposed to get gold people, and if you play Zerg at diamond, then you should queue as Zerg and get diamond people. But it seems that at the very highest level, at least at the beginning, your MMR is still very, very high. Because Puck is playing against Scarlett here. Scarlett is a player known for prolific ladder wins. I mean, Scarlett historically has had some accounts with just ludicrous win rates, so to run into Scarlett on ladder means that your MMR would have to be very high. Scarlett's going to go hatchery first, and then gas, and then pool. Puck went pool first, and then expand, so Scarlett should have the macro advantage here. It will be interesting to see how this plays out because ZvZ is of course a mirror matchup, and mirror matchups are some of the hardest ones to play in the game. In my opinion, I play all three races, and I think that as far as learning the matchups, like Terran versus Zerg is pretty simple as far as what counters what. Same with Terran versus Protoss. But with Terran versus Terran, there's kind of this weird thing where like you always have to have Vikings, and like you can lose to one Banshee, and Tankovacs are insane. And Zerg versus Zerg, the first 5 minutes are just ludicrous. The Ling Banling micro, if it's not something that you're used to, will just blow your doors right off. And Puck is an exceptional micro player. We see this whenever he uses disruptor styles. Of course, his main race is Protoss. But it will be interesting to see if Scarlett puts pressure on, which she is doing, 6 Lings coming. How will Puck fare? He has 4 Lings coming out right now, and he's going to poke forward and see what he can get done. And Scarlett has a Ling advantage now. Puck has to get back, and he does. Oh no, he's going to fight. That's not good, but Lings have the same speed, and the metabolic boost is not going to finish anytime soon, so Puck is fine. If we go to units, Scarlett is slightly ahead with more Lings, an additional Queen, and more drones. Power of hatchery first. Queen comes up for Puck, so he will be fine to defend this because a Queen has such a large amount of HP that it contributes an absurd amount to Ling versus Ling fights. If you do not play Zerg versus Zerg, having 4 Lings versus 4 Lings and a Queen, I mean, the difference is absurd. It's one of those weird things that you wouldn't really understand unless you played a lot of the mirror match. And it's not that the Queen does that much damage, it's the hit points. Because remember, mirror matchups, obviously you're going to use almost all the same units. For instance, like Ling vs Ling or Roach vs Roach. So the numbers are going to be all that more important because there's no difference at all since it's a mirror matchup. So if the Queen is there to sponge damage and it can prevent Lings from dying, then that means that basically the fight will swing in your favor very hard once your opponent's units start dying. Puck is trying to play defensive here and go into Roach, but Scarlett already has a 3rd base up and a Queen waiting. The players are about even in supply. Scarlett starts her +1 attack, and they're doing very similar builds, but Scarlett is just a little bit more crisp across the board. Her creep spread has started. Her 3rd base is finished with the Queen already there, although her 3rd might die because Puck is going to swing in here with Lings, and he's going to run in and go for drones instead. Ooh, bad observing there by me. Now Scarlett has a reasonable amount of Lings out, and she will probably be able to defend this. Puck potentially should have tried to snipe the base here and forced his hand, although it is very hard to know things like that in the moment of the game, because remember, Puck doesn't really know for sure exactly where Scarlett's army is. He can kind of deduce where it is, but he also doesn't know what Scarlett was doing at home. For all he knew, Scarlett had 14 roaches waiting at home, and she was waiting to push out and didn't even have a third. So fight at the third here of Puck, and Puck is at a numbers disadvantage now. Scarlett has surged forward in supply. Her roach speed is on the way. Her roaches are on the way, and this is kind of what you would expect from a mirror matchup, especially from a player of Scarlett's caliber. Scarlett is just doing everything almost perfectly, and we see it's not that Puck is bad, but he can't be expected to keep up in a ZvZ versus one of the best ZvZ players ever. Scarlett, of course, made one of her most impressive performances early on in her career, taking down players like Scarlett and Vibe whenever the BWC ran supreme in 2012. Before the WCS, basically there was a tournament called the BWC that was a lot like WCG. It was way more regional. Scarlett has +1. This is going to be a slaughter. This attack, notice it hits right when roach speed and +1 finishes. So even though that Puck has been upgrading +1, he had to be at an upgrade disadvantage for a second there, and that's all it's going to take, because now Scarlett can easily kill the third and Puck GG's. So Scarlett displays wonderful ZvZ there, and Puck was just trying to off-race, man. The poor guy. He got matched up against one of the best ZvZers there is, and he paid the price. So Scarlett takes this game in a bizarre off-race ZvZ.